Thursday to the Ungovernables, the Captain's Crew, the LFA family, McGroy Nation, coming to you live from the deep red state of Tennessee on rumble.com/LFA TV. Welcome to Ungoverned. And we're happy to be here on a Thursday. Rumble, on X, everywhere. It's going to be a big one today. We got a lot to talk about. A lot of stuff starting to break this morning. A lot of things happening. Obviously, there's a little bit of a spat going on social media between, well, not really directly between Elon Musk and Donald Trump, but indirectly. Elon's not happy with the big, beautiful bill because Elon didn't listen to the show. What did I tell you guys about the big, beautiful bill 2 months ago? What is the one thing I said over and over and over again about, did I not call this, that this was going to happen? What is the one thing that I said about the big, beautiful bill a couple of months ago? What is the one thing I said? Let's see if the chat remembers back. A couple of months ago when they first started talking about the big, beautiful bill and passing the big, beautiful bill. What was the one thing that I said here? There it is. Great. Gary. We love you, Gary. Tremendous guy. That it's not going to be perfect. Great McGroin. Got it. He's like a star pupil. He remembered way back. Boom. Right? That it's not going to be perfect. It can't be perfect. It can't be perfect. I don't believe that this is a chess game, by the way. Everything's chess. My gosh. Some things are, right? Don't get me wrong. This is not. I mentioned that it wasn't going to be perfect and that people were going to have a problem with it. And you know, it's called managing expectations. Okay? Look, it's never going to be perfect. Even if you make changes to it, it's never going to be perfect. All right? I have a feeling Elon's taking this personally. That there's not enough Doge cuts in the big, beautiful budget bill. There can't be Doge cuts, many Doge cuts in the big, beautiful budget bill. Because a lot of the Doge cuts are discretionary spending. And reconciliation bills, budget bill, they only address mandatory spending. Right? The way you attack discretionary spending is what Donald Trump is going to be doing, and he's already done one of them, is through rescissions. 508 Fisher has it. You can't put these cuts in that bill. Now, that doesn't mean that there's not excessive spending at some levels in the budget bill. There is. That I told you 2 months ago, I told you there's going to be pork. 2 months ago, I told you there's going to be things that we're going to have problems with. But it's either, look, we have to, and I think the Senate is going to make some adjustments and send it back to the House and do, but the point of the matter is this. It's either this or you lose the Trump 2016 or 2017 tax cuts. And we don't want to lose the Trump 2017 tax cuts. You want to see a recession? After just going through 4 years of hyperinflation, you start taxing people at higher rates than they were being taxed and giving them less disposable income. You will see, then you'll see your recession. Then you'll see your recession. Okay? And I really would like to shut this down, or at least not shut it down. You could believe whatever you want to believe, right? You could believe whatever you want to believe. We heard this, right? We heard this with Trump and DeSantis in the primary. Oh, no, they're working together. I'm like, I don't know about that. It seems to be getting kind of contentious. I don't think this whole thing is a movie, right? Not every time there's a disagreement in the administration is it a plan. Sometimes people disagree. Here's what I think is going on, and I made this post yesterday on X, and, actually, what's crazy when you make common sense type posts like this, usually you get ripped for it, but it looks like there's a common sense comeback, and I'm going to try and lead the charge on that. It looks like there's a common sense comeback happening on social media right now, because I think people are getting tired of this all or nothing, getting pulled in one direction or the other thing that's going on the internet. So let me Let me explain where I'm at with the big, beautiful bill and where I am at with the Trump-Elon. Did I call it a spat? I think I did, right? Is it really that? I don't think the Wall Street Journal saying the relationship is strained. I don't believe that. I think there's a disagreement, and that's okay. That is okay. Elon is right about some elements of the big, beautiful bill. There's a lot of pork. We knew that was going to happen. We knew that was going to happen. But Trump is also right about some elements of the big, beautiful bill. Naturally, here's what happens online, right? Here's what happens on the internet. It's super tribal, right? You're either all or nothing on either side. And if you say, well, I don't know, Elon's right about some things, Trump is right about something, you're weak. You won't make up your mind. You're not loyal. No. Folks, make no mistake. The truth is in the middle of both men at this point, both sides. It's true. The idea that if Trump wants it, it's good is not a foolproof approach, right? Just, for example, Lindsey Graham, right? There's example number one. Nor is the idea of if Elon doesn't like it, it's bad. That's the same thing. That's just on the other side. We know, and we always knew, if you were listening here 2 months ago, 2.5 months ago, it was never going to be a perfect bill. I told you this in no uncertain terms. It was never going to be a perfect bill. That's why when I said, what did I say 2 months ago? Great McGroin in our chat came out and said, it was never going to be perfect because he was listening and paying attention and taking notes and now passing the test. The Senate can still modify it. Many of the Doge cuts that we are rightfully demanding, Elon included, can be achieved through rescissions. Talked about that yesterday. The amount that this bill adds to the deficit, that's where there's been a lot of talk about, is based off of projections by the CBO, Congressional Budget Office, which has been historically inaccurate. All right, the CBO is right about as much as Charles Gasparino and Jim Cramer. Okay? It's not right often. But why did I think the bill wasn't going to be perfect? Because we have a very slim majority. And bills like this, where everybody gets to take something in there, you know, this is the only way anything passes when you have a slim majority. Criticism is always warranted. The all-out warfare that I'm starting to see between the Team Elon and Team Trump and Team Massey and Rand Paul and, you know, all this, that's not warranted. The warfare is not warranted. Criticism, debate, discussion, always warranted. The all-out warfare, not. That's where I think. That's where I think we are with the bill. Okay? And no matter what happens, we need those tax cuts. If the Trump 2017 tax cuts expire, we will be in a world of trouble. Period. Full stop. Period. Full stop. Yes, last time when Donald Trump implemented those tax cuts, they said it would result in huge deficits. That didn't happen. The Congressional Budget Office, CBO, is a mess. Okay, one of the reasons why Donald Trump keeps asking for an increase in the debt ceiling is because tax cuts are categorized as spending items. Okay, and so because they think when you cut taxes, government winds up losing revenue, which Art Laffer, years ago, the Laffer curve proved is incorrect. These are not new tax cuts. This is an extension of previously, experienced and enacted tax cuts. There's nothing new here. So the CBO is way off base. People believe it. They ate it up. It's going to add this, that, and the other to the deficit. The CBO is not right. I get it. There's going to be debate. There's going to be discussions. Things are going to happen. I hope we don't see, no tax on tips like Tom Tillis. I hope we don't see no tax on tips go away. I hope we don't see no tax on overtime go away. No tax on Social Security is going to have to be done differently. But it was never going to be a perfect bill. There's disagreements. Disagreements are okay. It is not always a planned thing. Let's disagree with each other in public, and this way people think it's a big thing. No. Two men have different opinions. That's it. There doesn't have to be some sort of copium on it. Oh, no, they're working together. Well, they're still working together. They both still want to decrease spending. They both still want to make America great again. And that's that. Okay? The truth is in the middle. And I'm telling you, I'll say it for the last time, and then we're done on this topic. I warned you about this. The bill was never going to be perfect. All right. Thank you to Bald Brad. The Baldies are here. What up, Baldies? That's it. What up, Baldies? Let's get to a word from our friends over at OFP Farms. It's OFPFarms.com. Then we got the travel ban. Folks, the travel ban is back. I'm very excited that the travel ban is back. I've got some great news because I see a lot of people. How long until a district judge blocks it? I don't know if any district judges are going to be able. They may try, but I don't think those blocks are going to stand. And I'll explain to you why. We've got constitutional language. We've got legal language that we can go through as to why these blocks, if they are going to be blocking them, blocking the travel ban, are not going to stand. First, OFP Farms, folks, yeehaw! Saddle up for Father's Day over at OFP Farms. They've got big news. Hot off the farm press. OFP Farms is dishing out a barn load of gift sets to make your dad, your papa, your husband, your son, your best uncle, or that special father figure in your life feel like a king this Father's Day. Choose from our fabulous lineup. Beard and bath sets, soap boxes, wellness bundles, and a whole lot more. Round up your orders today, ladies and gentlemen. There's not a lot of time left before Father's Day. Get these goodies shipped out to your pa, your father, right? While we all loved the Pony Express back in the day, we're trusting the good old USPS to deliver the goods. But guess what? You can get a 20% discount on your entire order with promo code Shawn, SHAWN, at OFPFarms.com. OFPFarms.com, promo code Shawn, SHAWN. You better spell it correctly, because if you don't spell it correctly, you know what happens? I'm going to charge a 25% tariff on you. Oh. So you're actually going to pay 5% more than you were going to pay if you didn't use the code at all. OFPFarms.com, promo code Shawn. OFPFarms.com, promo code Shawn for 20% off of your Father's Day gift sets. OFPFarms.com, promo code SHAWN. That is OFPFarms.com, promo code Shawn for Father's Day over at OFP Farms. All right. Donald Trump has revived the travel ban. Before we do that, as you could hear, I am struggling right now. Can I have a throat coat, please, out of there? It's in the back. Just open it up. It's right there. There you go. Please give me that. Holy moly. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, my gosh.
It's a tough job, but someone's got to do it.
We had a rough night last night. I woke up at 3 in the morning or 4 in the morning. 3, 4, 3, something, with probably one of the worst headaches I've had in like the last 8 years. It was nauseating. It's gone now, or at least masked, but it was after a lot of medication. So my throat is suffering. We got allergies running through the air. It's crazy. So we're going to try and get through it like this. Now, the travel ban is back. Donald Trump has banned travel from 12 different countries, including Afghanistan, Haiti, Iran, Somalia, Sudan, and partially restricts travel from several more countries. This is a revival, essentially, of Donald Trump's travel ban from his first term, except it is broadened a bit. It has broadened a bit. So we will have travel restricted from 12 different countries, including Afghanistan, Burma, Chad, Republic of the Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Haiti, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Yemen. These restrictions distinguish between, but apply to both, the entry of immigrants and non-immigrants, Trump said. Now, That's interesting. The entry of immigrants. Because that says even if you're through the process, you can't come in. Trump also partially restricted travel from several other countries. But I want to explain to you, because a lot of people think, well, district court judge probably going to come in, block this like they always do, right? And you're right to be cynical of it. First of all, I want to clarify the first big point. This is not restricting travel from those countries. In other words, there will still be flights and travel between the United States and Afghanistan. There will still be travel between the United States and Iran. There will still be travel between the United States and Equatorial Guinea, wherever the hell that is. I don't even know where that is. Sounds like it's probably on the equator, equatorial. It's not about banning. I want you to think less about where the flights originate. He is banning people who have nationality or citizenship in those countries, okay? So simply put, this is what the travel ban actually looks like, okay? This is what the travel ban actually looks like. There's a lot of confusion. It's not about where the flights come from, but let's say, you know how many Muslims are in the UK, how many Muslims, are in France and in Europe, and they're taking over these countries, right? A lot of people are like, well, an Iranian can just go to France and then come to the United States. Wrong. Incorrect. That's not how this works. That's not how this works. If one of those Muslim invaders that goes to France is an Iranian national or an Iranian citizen or has an Iranian passport, that person cannot come into the United States, even though he'd be traveling from France. So it is not about where the flights come from. You understand? It's about where the traveler claims nationality. We understand all that? So the nationality is determined before they travel. When a person books a flight or applies for a United States visa, they have to provide a valid passport. The passport contains their nationality, their country of issuance, and their unique identification. Citizens applying for a visa or citizens of most countries need a visa to enter the United States unless you were a part of the visa waiver program. And there's a list of a bunch of countries that are a part of that program. For countries under a travel ban, their nationals are either denied a visa outright or limited to a certain type of visa with strict vetting. Airlines who are running flights outside of the country also have a pre-clearance and a system called the Advanced Passenger Information System for U.S. authorities. That system includes passport data, nationality, and travel history. And that's not just for foreign. If you are traveling, your stuff is put into that system as well. Customs and Border Patrol can flag and deny boarding before a plane ever leaves the ground. So if an Iranian national is in Australia and wants to try and come to the United States, right now, he cannot do that. For travelers from the visa waiver program countries not affected by the ban, they must apply online via the electronic system for travel authorization. If you're from a banned country, you will likely be denied a visa. Or you will be denied boarding at an airport. Or you will be stopped at the U.S. border before coming into the country. Okay? So that's where we are with that. Now, it stops only people from those countries, okay? It stops only people from those countries. Now, here's an interesting question. What if somebody holds dual citizenship? Let's say they have dual citizenship in Iran and Australia. That person can come into the United States as long as they use the Australian passport, right? So if you have dual citizenship between a banned country, with a banned country and a non-banned country, you can't travel here with the passport from the banned country. You have to use the passport from the non-banned country. Get it? So Australia is not on the list. If you are a citizen of Australia, an Australian national, and you're also a citizen of Iran, this is probably very rare, but it's a good hypothetical. If you want to come to the United States, you have to use the Australian passport. If your Australian passport is expired and your only valid passport is the Iranian passport, you can't come here. Make sense? Now, why is this not going to be blocked? Why is this not going to be blocked? Okay. In 2017, Donald Trump enacted a very similar ban. It wasn't identical. But the ban was very similar in that it banned 7 countries, not 12, and it used, what was it called? The Immigration and Nationality Act for its basis, okay? So this ban, the 2025 ban, is built on some of the same legal framework that Donald Trump's 2017 Executive Order 13780 and his Presidential Proclamation 9645 dealing with these travel bans. This ban is broader than the last ban because it bans 5 more countries. However, they're using the same legal authority that was upheld by the Supreme Court in 2018, okay? Section 212F of the Immigration and Nationality Act, which was passed in, I believe, 1952, but has been amended several times. It says the following, though, Section 212F, quote, and this is pretty black and white. Section 212F of the Immigration and Nationality Act. Whenever the president finds that the entry of any aliens or of any class of aliens into the United States would be detrimental to the interests of the United States, he may suspend the entry of all aliens or any class of aliens for such period as he shall deem necessary. This ban is going to stand. That Immigration and Nationality Act gives the president absolute power to say, I don't want people who have citizenship in that country coming into my country because I don't think their interests line up with our interests. He doesn't need any reason other than I feel like it. Again, here's the language. Whenever the president finds that the entry of any aliens or of any class of aliens into the United States would be detrimental to the interests of the United States, he may suspend the entry of all aliens or any class of aliens for such period as he shall deem necessary. Done. This ban's not going anywhere, folks. The district court judges that are getting ready to block this thing or to try and block this thing, they're not going to be successful. A, because a very similar ban was upheld by the Supreme Court in Donald Trump's first term using the exact same legal framework and authority that this ban is built upon. It just expanded the amount of countries by 5 countries that he's banning. That's it. This is not getting blocked. Now, you may say, does Donald Trump have to prove that these countries' interests may be detrimental to the United States? Maybe he does. Well, here's a little bit of proof right here. How about a Columbia University student? You know how many times we hear about it? Oh, no. They're not pro-Hamas. They're just anti-Israel. Really? Because there are phone records of one of these Columbia University students. It's not that Mahmoud Khalil jerk. It's a different one. A quote-unquote anti-Israel protester who faces hate crime charges for allegedly launching a series of violent physical attacks on Jewish people during demonstrations near Columbia University had a direct link to Hamas, according to prosecutors. Tarek Bazrouk, 20 years old, of New York City, a self-proclaimed Jew hater, reportedly received information directly from Hamas while protesting at Columbia University's campus. According to the Department of Justice, Bazrouk, who frequently wore Hamas's green headband, was, quote, a member of a chat group that received regular updates from Abu Obaida. Who is Abu Obaida? He's no big deal, except he's just the official spokesperson for Hamas and their Al-Qassam brigades, okay? So is there anybody out there who wants to kind of say, you're just simping for Israel. The AIPAC, you're getting paid. You're paid shill. Isn't this no paid shill? I'm just telling you. Here we go. We have a ban of these countries, right? We have a ban of these countries. And we have proof that one of these countries, Iran, which is the main country who funds Hamas, is definitely acting with interest detrimental to the United States. Somebody asked a question, is China on the list? China is not on the list. China is not on the list. Why is China not on the list? Well, I think for a couple of reasons. We want a healthy relationship with China. That's number one. Okay. Number two, there's a lot of Chinese nationals who do business here. And as much as I don't trust them, it would probably hurt the United States if we outright banned everybody coming from China. Now, Donald Trump did enact a travel ban on China during COVID, but his original travel ban in 2017 did not include China either. He only restricted travel from the country of China, not Chinese nationals, back when COVID was spreading to keep the virus out of the United States, even though, that didn't happen. But he did do that because that's where the virus was coming from. It was one of those COVID hotspots. But no, China is not on the list at all. China's not on the list. They are an enemy of our, they're an adversary, but they're not on the list, and they have never been on the list, right? So that's unfortunate, right? But they're not on the list. The countries that are on the list are largely countries that are pretty avid sponsors of terrorism, right? Speaking of terrorism, what happened in Colorado? Would you be shocked? Would anybody be shocked? Are you going to make this face when I play this video of the Colorado terrorist expressing his desire to commit jihad? Interesting. Watch this.
الله أكبر من كل شيء، الله أكبر من الصهاينة، الله أكبر من أمريكا وأسلحتها، الله أكبر من طائرات الF-35، الله أكبر مما هو دونه. فلما نخشى ما دونه ولا نخشى الله. لو قلت لمراتي ولا ابني كل يوم نفس الحاجة يعملها وما عملهاش، أنا هتضايق، هزعل، يمكن أطلقها، يمكن أطلب ابني من البيت. فما بالنا الله يقول لنا كل يوم عشرات المرات الله أكبر، لا تنسوا، الله أكبر، لا تنسوا، الله أكبر من كل شيء. لا صهاينة ولا أمريكا ولا بريطانيا وفرنسا وألمانيا، الله أحق أن نخشاه، الله أحق أن نخشاه. أمي، زوجتي، أولادي، إخوتي،
How about that? Huh? You guys still, is there anyone out there who still thinks that guy just doesn't like Jews? Talking about Zionists, talking about America. Again, it's a common theme with these Free Palestine people, right? Is it ever only about Israel? Is it ever only about Israel with the Free Palestine people? No, the answer to that is no. It's never only about Israel. What is it they say? First we'll come for the Saturday people, then we'll come for the Sunday people. What about that other three-word phrase? Marg Bar Amrika. Remember that guy? Death to America. Down with America. It's not about Israel, ladies and gentlemen. And those who are using that as their shield to keep them from facing criticism or justifying their support of Free Palestine, no. It's not just about Israel. I don't care about Bibi Netanyahu. I couldn't care less. I don't care about their the Knesset. Is that their House and Senate or their legislative chamber? The Mossad, whatever. It's their intelligence. Look, listen. That's not what I'm talking about here, folks. I am an America first person. I believe 100% in putting my country first. And so when I have these freaks, these lunatics who are telling me explicitly that they want to bring, and I quote, death to America, I don't like those people. I don't care if they're also critical of a country that I may not be fond of, right? Let's say the Free Palestine people were also like F China. I'd be like, well, they're right about F China, but I don't like them. Okay? You know, it's like if a serial killer gives you a good stock trading tip and you make millions of dollars, it doesn't make that guy a good person. Okay? This is what I'm talking about. This all or nothing tribalism crap. It's really dangerous. No, the enemy of your enemy. And if Israel is your enemy, that's on you. I'm not going to change that. I don't agree with it. You could not be fond of their government. I don't think they should be your enemy. But if they are your enemy and you see this group, this Free Palestine movement, and Israel is also their enemy, that doesn't make them your friend because they want to kill you, period. Okay? If any of the usual suspects that we usually bring up, right, the Candace Owens, the Myron Gaines, the Nick Fuentes, the Jake Shields, these people that are sympathetic to the Free Palestine movement simply because the Free Palestine movement is critical and opposes Israel, right? If any of those people went to Gaza, they'd have their heads cut off. Period. I mean, it would take all of 2 seconds. Matter of fact, what's really shocking is somebody like Candace, she's not even allowed to show her face over there. It's Sharia law. Like, what do you want? Israel, on the flip side, happens to be an incredibly liberal country with the gays and the trans and all this. Again, I don't agree with that. But you see, I don't see Israelis dancing in the street screaming death to America. Right? They'll say, well, that's because we give them so much money. Okay, they still don't want us dead. We give a lot of money to Hamas too, and aid and all that crap. And they do want us dead. So I'm going to go with the people who don't want us dead. I don't know about you. Bonino Army in the chat, right? I miss him so much on his podcast. You know, it's like there's a void now. Is this how people felt when Rush died? It must be. When Rush Limbaugh passed, and you had no, like, let me ask you this. Is this right? But the void is what I'm asking. When Rush passed away and he wasn't doing his show anymore because he passed, is this how it felt? I mean, and no offense to Andrew Wilkow. I love Andrew Wilkow. I listen to him when I can. He doesn't fill the Bongino void for me completely, but he's pretty close. Is this how it felt? Like is that how it felt? Bongino Army, I have a question. What was rule number 1 of the Dan Bongino show? Right? What was rule number 1 of the Dan Bongino? The most important rule of the Dan Bongino show. Rule number 1 was what?
Don't get dead.
Brennan said it. Don't get dead. Right? Don't get dead. Now, over in the Middle East, Israel is a country that is far less likely to make me closer to getting dead than Hamas, right? Don't get dead. I mean, it's very simple, isn't it? Isn't it really simple? If we all abide by rule number 1 of the Dan Bongino show, which is don't get dead, and I look at the Israel-Hamas conflict, and Israel is not chanting death to America, so my chances of getting dead by supporting Israel are far lower than my chances of getting dead by supporting Hamas. This is not a difficult concept, guys. Okay? And this is why I think Dan phrased it like, don't get dead. It's very simple. And it's silly, but it's true. Hamas is chanting, and these people, these Free Palestine, they're chanting death to America. Sounds like those people want me dead. I don't like those people, okay? I'm not saying Israel's perfect, and I know that there are instances over in Israel where there are Jews who spit on Christians. I'm not saying that doesn't happen. I'm not saying there's not prejudice. I'm not saying they're a perfect country. I'm not saying these are perfect. There are no perfect people. Not a single, there is not one person on planet Earth who is perfect, okay? I get it. I'm saying of the two, one of them says death to America. The other one doesn't. And if we apply the don't get dead Bonino rule to this evaluation, in order to not get dead, I'm going to support the people who don't chant death to America. I didn't think it was this hard, but we just had to take everybody on social media who can't pull their head. You know, they need a cranial... What is it? A cranial rectotomy? Pull your head from within your ass, right? Remove it. We had to bring them all back to preschool and literally speak to them like they're 3.5 years old. All right. You know, and this is why I miss Dan Bongino in his role as a podcaster. Though, speaking of Bongino, we have a clip from him. Maybe we'll play that at the end because I am bookmarking all the haters. Not the criticizers or the ones who say, I want to see action. That's not haters. I'm talking about haters, right? I don't have a problem with someone saying, all right, Bongino says this. I want to see action. That's not hate. That's not hate. That's rightful. I'm fine with that. I'm the same way. Dan's the same way. Talk is cheap. The do matters, right? That's his phrase. I'm talking about the people who are immediately saying, no, that's BS. He's just lying to you. Okay. Bookmarked. I literally have a bookmark folder on X called Dan Haters. And there's at least 15 different accounts in there right now. And when he proves those people wrong, all of those posts are going to get quote tweeted and say, where you at? And it's going to be a good time. So Jason... Speak, Winky, anybody who's on X. I don't know if Winky's on X. If she's not, she's really missing out. But it may drive her too crazy. But any of you Bongino Army who's on X, Gary, I know you're on X. Get ready because when Dan proves the doubters and the haters wrong, we're going all in. There's Jason right there. Got him. He said flag it. I love him. All right. I want to get to this. We have a development in the Autopen scandal, ladies and gentlemen. The Autopen scandal. And if you remember what I said not too long ago, what did I say Joe Biden would have to do in order to essentially not end, but make overturning the pardons very difficult? Does anybody remember 2 days ago what I said he would have to do? Does anybody remember what I said 2 days ago? What I said Joe Biden would have to do? Why this would make overturning pardons very difficult? Does anybody remember? We'll wait for the chat to close in because this is like 30 or 45 second delay. 30 to 45 second delay there. That's it. Gary is a star student today. He deserves a gold star. Brennan, Miss Brennan, please give Gary a gold star. Okay. Yes, say he knew. Now, this does not go all the way. Okay? But I'm going to explain to you and walk you step by step why this is going to make overturning the pardons very difficult. Joe Biden, thank you for giving Gary a gold star. Joe Biden, late on Wednesday, said, quote, "Let me be clear. I made all decisions during my presidency. I made all decisions about the pardons, executive orders, legislation, proclamations. Any suggestion I did is ridiculous or false." If you didn't understand that, he said, let me be clear. I made the decisions during my presidency. I made the decisions about the pardons, executive orders, legislation, and proclamations. Any suggestions that I didn't is ridiculous and false. Now, it's not under oath. You can make any statement you want to the media. I can claim to Newsmax or to anybody that I'm the Queen of England. I cannot do that to Congress because then I would be lying to Congress, okay? So this does not close the investigation totally. What this does is it sets the foundation, lays the foundation for if he gives a statement under oath, whether it's to Congress or a sworn affidavit, right? It makes overturning the pardons very, very difficult. And I'm going to explain to you why. Look, this is an unpopular take. This is not a sensational take. This is not something that I believe people want to hear, but I believe it's something that we should hear, and I believe it is the truth. I do not believe any of Joe Biden's Autopen pardons are going to be overturned. First of all, the Constitution makes no requirement that the pardons have to be signed by hand. Okay, so the use of the Autopen in and of itself is not unconstitutional. The only restrictions on a president's power to pardon deal with impeachments or state-level offenses. All right, this is explicit. This is right out of the Constitution, Article 2, Section 2, Clause 1, and I quote, "The president shall have power to grant reprieves and pardons for offenses against the United States, except in cases of impeachment." Quote, "Offenses against the United States," end quote, grants the president the power only to pardon federal offenses. Look, if Joe Biden continues to maintain, like he did in that statement I just read to you, that he was aware of the decisions that were made during his presidency and authorized by him during his presidency, and there is no concrete evidence, not opinions, evidence that prove otherwise beyond a reasonable doubt, all of his pardons are going to remain intact. I'm not defending Joe Biden. I'm not saying that I like the use of the Autopen or that it was in good faith. I'm not even telling you that he's telling the truth. All I'm saying is that a president's power to pardon is incredibly broad. I know it's not what we want to hear, but it is what I believe to be true. Okay? And the reason I believe it to be true is because of the language in the Constitution and various legal opinions regarding Autopen pardons that say they're valid. And again, if we are accusing Joe Biden of being unaware of what was going on in his presidency, then we have to prove that. If he goes under oath and says that he was aware of everything, and we don't have concrete, not opinions. Come on, we knew Jill did that. Well, we could say that, but do we have proof that actually links Jill to that statement? Again, I'm not talking about hypotheticals. I don't think Joe Biden was aware of everything during his presidency. I'm telling you, if you put a blindfold on and you have the scales of justice where the evidence is going to tip those scales right now, the evidence is tipping the scales in favor of the pardons remaining intact. We can think that Jill Biden, we could feel 99% certain that Jill Biden authorized everything during Joe Biden's presidency, unless there is concrete evidence, and there may be concrete evidence that was the case. The pardons are not going to be overturned. It's because the power to pardon is so broad and so absolute and so explicit in the Constitution that it's going to take unbelievably extraordinary evidence to overturn something like this. I just don't want to see you get your hopes up. I'm not saying we don't want to investigate. I'm not saying the investigation is a waste of time. By all means, investigate. By all means, subpoena. By all means, get these guys and gals under oath. By all means, compile as much evidence as we possibly can in this case. I'm just saying, don't get your hopes up on these pardons. Guys, I was right about the big, beautiful bill, that it wasn't going to be perfect. Look at where we are. I'm telling you, in a couple of months, we're probably going to hear that the pardons can't be overturned, if it even takes that long. I'm telling you. And I just don't want to see you get your hopes up and have them dashed. It's probably not going to happen. Okay? That's it. All Joe Biden's got to do Now, Dave B brings up an interesting point. I don't understand a pardon of someone not charged or convicted of a crime. I disagree with the blanket pardon of those not charged with anything yet. There is precedent for that. Jimmy Carter pardoned all Vietnam draft dodgers before he left office. Some of the Vietnam draft dodgers hadn't been charged with the crime. It protected them from ever being charged with that crime. So there's precedent for that as well. Again, a president's power to pardon is so broad. It's going to be very tough to overturn them. Okay, and you look at Rommel. Look, Jack, I signed it. My son signed it. You lying dog-faced pony son. All right. I want to get to Karine Jean-Pierre. She wrote a book, and she's releasing a book, and this is going to be a lot of fun. But before we do that, I want to talk to you about the LFA TV store. Father's Day right around the corner. Great Father's Day gift ideas coming up for you right here at the LFA TV store. It is lfatv.us, 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 or jeremyherald.com/store. Check this place out, folks. Look at it. Right there on your screen. Click on that LFA TV store tab. You'll see everything there is to offer. If you click on this button on the right-hand side, visit the store. You'll see the entire LFA TV merch selection. I love the coffee mugs. I think this would be a great idea for Dad. You get 20% off as well. Offer ends June 30th. 20% off of everything on the website, everything on the store, right? So you got the mug with the all four of those beautiful 2024 campaign cycle photos, and it goes very well, perfectly, with the Rise Up coffee that you see on the LFA TV store as well. Rise Up coffee, LFA TV. Look at this. You got the mugs, you got the coffee, you got everything there is to offer here at the LFA TV store, making great gifts for Dad. So check it out. lfatv.us or jeremyherald.com/store. That's lfatv.us or jeremyherald.com/store. All right, here we go. Here we go. Karine Jean-Pierre's decided now she's walking away from the Democrat Party. Convenient timing, Karine. Convenient timing. We have a troll.
I mean, kind of. They're not really. They're being ridiculous.
How so?
MAGA is evil and
MAGA is evil and satanic,
satanic.
huh?
Is a Mason, I think.
Who's a Mason?
Trump.
Trump's a Mason?
That's what they said. But
Okay.
I'm just kind of ignoring them. It kind of also intrigued because it's kind of funny.
Okay. Cool.
Their name is
Michelle Magical, right? Okay.
Because magic
Yeah.
is Satan's work.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
how about that? That's ironic to me.
Interesting. Karine, you know what's also interesting? Karine Jean-Pierre. Karine Jean-Pierre wrote a book. Okay? Karine Jean-Pierre, Eric Richards 99 says, what about her report? If he couldn't, that's a good question. If he couldn't stand trial for classified documents, then how can he pardon? Again, I'm going to go to, we have to defer to the Constitution, right? What does the Constitution say? The president shall have the power to grant reprieves and pardons for offenses against the United States, except in cases of impeachment. Nowhere does it say that the president has to be mentally stable. I'm just reading from the Constitution. If he was removed with the 25th Amendment, you have a point. He wasn't. Right? So it's hard to argue with the Constitution. And that, I want to be clear. That's what I argue with, right? I look at the Constitution, I look at the laws, we look at everything that is leading it. What does the precedent say? What does the Constitution say? Constitution says probably not going to happen. All right. Karine Jean-Pierre is writing a book. She did nothing but run cover for Joe Biden. Remember Karine Jean-Pierre? She did nothing but run cover for Joe Biden. And that was her job. I get it. But I mean, you're going to tell me you were disillusioned with the Democrat Party, disillusioned with the Biden regime, and yet you did this every day. We got a couple montages. I got a montage here. Karine Jean-Pierre. This was Wesley Hunt over on X. Put this one together. Just take a look at this and you tell me, look, again, She definitely saw a lot, and hopefully she tells a lot. And maybe Karine Jean-Pierre has direct, concrete evidence that Joe Biden had no idea what he was doing. But the funny part about it is she went out in front of the American people and lied for 2.5 years. Watch.
MAGA Republicans are the most energized part of the Republican Party. I think this is an extreme threat to our democracy, to our freedom.
Is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No. I just said no. I just answered.
It would seem that people in this White House knew that President Biden was slipping, and it was hidden from the American people.
Know that is a narrative that you love. Wait,
10
hold
days,
on. President Biden has been clear-eyed about the threat that the former president represents to our democracy. Today, the Council of Economic Advisors released a blog showing grocery inflation is indeed slowing, with prices of eggs and produce such as vegetables and fruit falling in recent months.
Why is it in the country's best interest for him to step aside? Does it have to do with his health, or
it does not have to do? They have nothing to do with his health. He is as sharp as ever, as I have known him to be in my engagement, in my experience with him. And I think you all have called this the cheap fakes video, and that's exactly what they are. They are cheap fakes video. They are done in bad faith. Disaster relief funds used on immigrants illegally in the U.S. The fact is, no money is being diverted from response needs. That's
as the mobster suit.
Quote, yes, that was a huge lie by the Biden administration.
Why is President Biden saying that his uncle Bozie was eaten by cannibals?
The president had a emotional and I think a symbolic moment. He had an opportunity as president to honor his uncle's service in uniform. I think we need to stop thinking in boxes and think outside of our boxes and not be so partisan.
Got it. Okay. Well, that's not all we have from Karine Jean-Pierre. My goodness, Peter asked that. Why did Joe Biden say his uncle was eaten by cannibals? Listen, Jack, because I don't want to say my uncle was actually eaten by Stacey Abrams. The beast of Southeast, Jack. But my all-time favorite Karine Jean-Pierre clip. My all-time favorite Karine Jean-Pierre. Remember the debate, June 27th? Everyone remembers that, except Joe Biden. He doesn't remember that. But everyone else remembers it, right? And the excuse that she gave as to why Joe Biden had a bad night. This is why I don't believe her transformation. She's trying to save face. But if you don't remember her excuse, here it is.
There's no question that international travel can be rigorous. I think the confusion is that he's still suffering from the effects of that nearly 2 weeks later. So can you articulate a little bit about, like, do you guys usually have accommodations for him after he does a trip, that he's going to have jet lag for that long a period of time?
So can you, when you say 2 weeks later, what do you mean?
Well, the debate, he arrives back in the United States 12 or 13 days before the debate. So his explanation for a poor debate performance is jet lag.
So what I want to say is it's the jet lag and also the cold, right? It is the two things and that occurred. And you all heard it in his voice when he did the debate, right? And it is not even something that we shared ahead of time. You heard it in his voice and we confirmed it. And I think that's important to note as well. Like, it is the jet lag and the cold.
Jet lag and the cold, and she doubles down on it. This is the woman who's I'm not a Democrat, I'm an independent. Yeah, sure you are.
The president blamed jet lag for his debate performance, but he was back stateside for well over a week. So does he really need more than a week and a half to recover from traveling in Europe? And is that really what he thinks caused his poor debate performance?
So, yeah, just a couple of things, and I do appreciate the question because you know, the president has certainly spoken to this many times about the debate, and so he had an opportunity to do that in front of supporters, and as you just stated, he did that. He owned that the debate was not his best night, and he said himself, it's not an excuse, but it's an explanation. I was standing here yesterday, and many people were asking why and what's the explanation, and that's what you heard from him. Look, the two, I think, in addition to the two major trips, he was also continued to do his presidential duties. He worked late in doing that, and he also prepared for the debate. And on top of that, there was obviously the jet lag, as you just asked about, and also he had a cold. And you all heard directly, you heard from him during the debate. He had a hoarse voice. Many of you reached out to me.
Jet lag in the cold, folks. That's the woman who wants you to believe she's not a Democrat, she's an independent. Okay. Jet lag in the cold. Gina Wynn's comment of the day, by the way, said Karine Jean-Pierre looks like when her orange kitty throws up a hairball. Accurate. Accurate. I was cackling. I was muted, but I was cackling. Accurate. Definitely accurate. All right. Hey, I'm going to play the Bongino clip tomorrow of what he said on with Sean Hannity yesterday because we're going to have to run soon. But folks, I want to say thank you for watching and listening. Look, we're not hitting the like button much. I don't ask that much anymore because I'm frankly tired of asking. 3,800 people, 651 likes. Not great. We could do better. I think we will do better, but it's okay. We love you all. If you're over there on X, please hit the repost button. If you are over on Rumble, you could repost it onto your page as well. Hit the thumbs up button. It really helps us out. If you can do us another favor, ladies and gentlemen, and anywhere you get your audio podcast, whether it's Apple Podcasts or it's Spotify or any of these podcasting apps, you could search Ungoverned and you could hit subscribe. It's totally free, but it helps us reach new people on the audio platform. So if all 3,800 of you right now can go into your phone, search Ungoverned on your audio podcasting platforms, and all you got to do is hit subscribe. You don't have to do anything else. It's free. It takes 2 seconds. If you could do that for us, it would help us greatly. Make sure that if you're watching on Rumble, you create a Rumble account and you follow this channel, rumble.com/LFA TV. If you're listening on audio, a lot of the video that we play, you could better find it on rumble.com/LFA TV as well. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Jeremy Harrell is coming up next right here on LFA TV. Don't go anywhere. Right after this stream, as we have the one long stream all day long, so you don't have to click out and click back in. Thank you so much for watching and listening. As President Trump says, we will never give up, we will never give in, and we will never, ever surrender. And if all else fails, we will just become ungovernable. Thank you. God bless you. God bless this one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Have a great rest of your day. We're back here tomorrow, same time, same place, rumble.com/LFA TV at 10 a.m. Eastern time. We'll do phone calls second half of the show. I'll play you that Bongino clip tomorrow morning, first thing, right off the bat. In the words of John Fetterman, good night, everybody. Bang, gavel. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you tomorrow morning.